Hi there. I just want to show you a PowerShell script that I wrote on a client site last week. We had some big issues trying to connect Sentry One to some target machines, some of which were on a different domain and some which were in a different network. And there were firewalls in between servers, even within the same domain. These firewall ports are documented well by Sentry One, but we still could not connect in full mode. Sentry One, this tool on the left here, has two different modes. So if we go to the connection properties, you've got full mode and limited mode. Full mode allows you to see the Windows metrics here on the left and the SQL Server metrics here on the right. And limited mode only allows you to see the SQL Server metrics. So if you can connect to the SQL Server port and you can authenticate with SQL Server and you're a sysadmin in SQL Server, then you can run in limited mode. There's a much wider set of requirements needed to run in full mode. Now, I do recommend you run in full mode if at all possible. Client had some deadlocks on some tables last week, and we determined that the most amount of deadlocks happened during periods of high latency, which we wouldn't be able to see, tie those two together if we weren't running in full mode. So try and run in full mode if you can. If you go to sabin.io/blog, you'll get all the links to all of the stuff here. So I've just put that in a notepad window. So that's sabin.io/blog, and you'll see the article that supports this video. So there's a few requirements that are needed to be satisfied. We need to run with administrative privileges when running the script. And you must also have the remote server administration tools installed. You can download those from this page here. If you just do a quick Google search, you'll find it. There are two versions. One is for Windows Desktop, Windows 10, and one for Windows Server. So make sure you get the right one. Get the right version for your operating system. Install those on your Sentry One target machine, not your target machine, sorry, on your monitoring machine, and then run the PowerShell script from the monitoring machine using the Sentry One service account. So let me just demonstrate that to you now. So I've got a script here. So the script is in this location, so let's set the location. Let's .source the script. .sourcing allows you to access the functions within the script. So we're not actually going to run the script, we're just going to make the functions in it available to run. So if we look at the actual script itself, go to the top, we've got this function here called test Sentry One target. Now that we've .sourced it, we can now call that function directly from PowerShell. That will be useful later. I'll show you later when we pipe a JSON file in. So let's run this script against our target. Now I've got some firewall rules in place to disable ports 445 and 135. So this should come back and say that Sentry One will only work in limited mode. So let's just wait for this to come back. Now if the firewall ports are closed, then you do have to wait for it to time out, unfortunately. But if you have a list of servers piping in from a JSON file, you can just let the script run and then come back, make a cup of tea, come back and look at the results. So the results are finished now, and we can see that port 445 is closed. The error message is trapped and placed here for you to see. Also, the local admin test failed because it couldn't connect over the correct port to find out whether it's a local admin or not. Perfmon test failed and WMI failed. So Sentry One will run in limited mode because the SQL port was open and that passed. So that means that you'll be able to view the SQL Server metrics, but not the Windows one. So if we go to the firewall and open those ports up now, let's open RPC and the Perfmon ones. So the firewall ports are now open, and if we rerun the script, we can see that Sentry One is now in full mode and everything passes. So that's that. Now if you want to, say you've got 100 servers you want to monitor and you want to add them all into Sentry One, and they're all on behind different firewalls, then for example different dev or test or production environments, then if we go to a serverless.json file, you can create a JSON file yourself. So you need to specify targets and then just put in the parameters like you have here for all the servers that you want. You only need to put in the parameters that are required, so most of them may just be server name and the server name as I've shown. So let me just quickly show you that in action. That's the wrong window. Let's go to this window. Scroll down. So I've got the results here. So we're going to put in the contents of the file into a variable called servers with this line here. So if we look at that, if we just have a look at that file now, the variable, sorry, we can see that we're going to connect to Daffodil and Wisteria, 2 servers. That file is those 2 objects. These come in as PS custom objects. We'll pass those along into the pipeline, and for each of the objects we then run our function for each of these objects, and then at the end we'll put the results of this query into a variable called results. Let's run that line. So it's now connecting to both of those servers. It's stored the results in results, and we can now just view our results, and we can see that Daffodil instance A can be connected in full mode, but Wisteria can be only connected in limited mode. And that is because the Sentry One service is not a local admin on Wisteria. So if we add Sentry One to Wisteria as a local admin, then that will pass. Hope it's useful for you. So you can find the code here on github.com, this address up here, and if you go to sabin.io/blog, you can get all the links needed in there, and there's a full set of documentation. Thanks for watching.